Let me tell you something that might just shift the very ground you're standing on. Failure is not final. You hear me? It's not final. I know life has a way of whispering lies in your ear. It tells you that because you fell, because you made a mistake, because you were rejected or passed over or left behind, that it's over for you. That you've missed your chance, that it's too late. But I came to disrupt that lie and speak truth into your spirit. Your fall is not the end of your story. See, we live in a world that celebrates the outcome but rarely understands the process. People applaud your victories, but they don't see the valleys. They admire your strength, but overlook the scars that got you there. What they don't know is that every success has a trail of stumbles behind it. Every mountain top moment was preceded by a wilderness season, and the fact that you've fallen, that doesn't disqualify you, it qualifies you for the grace, for the growth, for the greatness that's coming next. Don't confuse a chapter with the whole book. Don't let a single moment define your entire life. You made a mistake, welcome to the club. You trusted the wrong people, took the wrong turn, made the wrong decision. But that was a moment, not your identity. Don't let guilt turn into shame, and don't let shame lock you into a prison God already gave you the key to escape from. The fact that you're still breathing, still standing, still fighting, tells me that God's not through with you yet. Failure has a way of being the greatest teacher if you're willing to listen. It humbles you, sharpens you, and resets your perspective. Sometimes it takes a fall to make you look up. Sometimes it takes losing everything to realize what really matters. Sometimes it takes a breakdown to set you up for a breakthrough. And what you thought was the worst thing that could have happened to you might just be the turning point that lifts you into your purpose. You see, destiny isn't for the perfect, it's for the persistent. It's for the ones who can fall flat on their face, get back up, dust themselves off, and say, "This is not how my story ends." There's something powerful about people who refuse to be defined by their past. People who say, "Yes, I've fallen, but I am not finished." People who understand that falling doesn't make you a failure. Staying down does, so I dare you, get back up. I dare you to believe again, to dream again, to try again. Because as long as there's breath in your body and a fire in your spirit, failure will never have the last word. Your story isn't over. It's just getting started. You are stronger than you think. Oh, you don't even know the power that's buried down inside of you. You've been walking around, head down, shoulders heavy, carrying the weight of your past, the sting of rejection, the pain of failure. But what you don't realize is that every tear you cried was watering the seed of strength in your soul. Every night you didn't give up, every morning you got up when you didn't feel like it, every time you smiled through the pain. You were proving to yourself that there's more in you than you ever imagined. Life doesn't reveal your strength when things are easy. It shows you what you're made of when everything falls apart. When the phone call comes, when the betrayal hits, when the money runs out and the friends disappear, that's when strength shows up. Strength doesn't come dressed in comfort. It comes dressed in pressure, in pain, in the fire of affliction. That's where warriors are born. Not in the spotlight, but in the struggle. You may not feel strong. You may feel like you're barely hanging on. But let me tell you something, you're still here. You made it through what tried to break you. You're still breathing, still standing, still fighting. That's not weakness, that's strength. Strength is not the absence of struggle. Strength is the decision to keep showing up in the face of it. Real strength is when you don't have the answers, but you keep asking the questions. When you don't see the way, but you keep putting one foot in front of the other. That's power. Let them underestimate you. Let them count you out. They don't know the fight that's in you. They didn't see you get up off that floor. They didn't see you praise through the pain. They didn't see you hold on when everyone else let go. They weren't there in the midnight hour when it was just you and God, and your tears hit the pillow like rain. But heaven saw, heaven took note, and what you gained in that place cannot be taken from you. The enemy tried to silence you, but he didn't know you had a voice that can't be muted. Life tried to crush you, but it didn't know you're made of something pressure can't destroy. There's a fire in you that affliction only fuels. There's a strength in you that hell can't shake, and you may not feel strong every day, but don't confuse your feelings with your foundation. You're standing on strength, you're clothed in courage, and you have survived too much to believe you're weak now. So straighten your back, lift up your head. There's more power in you than you've ever tapped into. The same God who brought you through before is the same God who's building you stronger in this very moment. You didn't come this far to break, you came this far to rise. There is purpose in your pain. You may not see it right now. You may be crying in the dark, asking why, screaming at the silence, wondering what all this suffering is for. But let me tell you, pain is not pointless. Your pain is not wasted. Every tear, every heartbreak, every sleepless night, every betrayal you didn't deserve, it all has a purpose. God does not allow pain without a plan. See, we often pray for strength, but we forget that strength is forged in the fire. We want patience, but we don't want the process. We want wisdom, but we don't want the wounds. We want the crown, but we don't want the cross. But you don't grow on the mountaintop. You grow in the valley. It's the valley that teaches you how to pray. It's the valley that shows you who's really for you. It's the valley that strips away the distractions and gets you face to face with your purpose. You thought that pain was punishment, but it was preparation. You thought you were being broken, but you were being built. You thought it was the end, but it was the beginning of something greater. The pain pushed you into purpose. It woke you up. It made you dig deeper. It forced you to let go of what was comfortable so you could step into what was called. And yes, it hurt. Yes, it broke you, but it also blessed you. Because there are some things you don't learn until you've been through something. There are some things you can't preach until you've bled. There's a power that only comes from pain. It gives you compassion. It gives you clarity. It gives you conviction. People see your glory, but they don't know your story. They see you standing tall, but they don't know how low you had to crawl to get here. They don't know what it cost you to still have your sanity, to still have your smile, to still believe. But you know what it took. You know what it broke, and now you know why. You had to go through it to grow through it. You had to lose some things to gain yourself. You had to walk through the fire to learn that the flames couldn't consume you. That pain you felt, that pain was birthing something. It was birthing a deeper level of purpose, a stronger identity, a clearer vision. So don't curse the pain. Don't despise it. Don't try to bury it. Let it teach you. Let it shape you. Let it push you, because you are not just a survivor. You are a vessel of purpose. What the enemy meant for evil, God is turning for good. What hurt you will now help others. What broke you is now building someone else. Your pain has a purpose, and that purpose is greater than anything you lost. Keep pressing, keep believing, and keep rising. Because your purpose is coming through the very place where you thought you were being destroyed. Your comeback will be greater than your setback. Oh yes, it will. Don't let the fall fool you. Don't let the delay deceive you. Don't let the detour destroy your faith. What you lost is nothing compared to what's coming. What left your life had to go so that what's meant for you could enter. This is not where your story ends. This is where your testimony begins. You see, life has a way of knocking the wind out of you. One bad report, one closed door, one betrayal. And suddenly it feels like everything you built is crumbling. You look around and wonder how it all went so wrong. You question the timing. You question yourself. You even question God. But let me tell you something, just because you've had a setback doesn't mean you're set aside. Just because you're down doesn't mean you're done. God has a way of using what looks like a breakdown as a setup for breakthrough. He specializes in taking the broken pieces and turning them into beauty. The fall doesn't disqualify you. It positions you. Sometimes God lets things fall apart so He can rebuild them better. Sometimes He lets things get quiet so you can finally hear His voice. Sometimes He lets you lose what was in your hands so He can place something greater in your heart. What you've been through was real. The pain was real. The disappointment, the sleepless nights, the gut-wrenching moments where you didn't know how you were going to make it. Real. But so is the promise. So is the comeback. So is the restoration that's on the way. You don't serve a halfway God. You serve a God who restores everything the locusts tried to eat. A God who brings beauty from ashes. A God who turns graves into gardens. Don't judge your future by your present. Don't build a permanent mindset in a temporary place. This moment of defeat is not your final destination. What felt like the end is really a bend in the road. You're turning the corner. You're shifting into a new season. The pit is not your prison. It's your passage, way to the palace. The delay is not denial. The closed door was divine protection. Hold your head up. I know you've cried. I know you've questioned. I know you've been tired. But hear me, this is not the end. There's a comeback in you. And it's not just a return to where you were. It's a rise to a level you've never seen before. When God brings you back, He brings you back better. He brings you back wiser. He brings you back stronger. He brings you back with fire in your soul and purpose in your steps. So don't give up in the middle. Don't settle in the setback. The best chapters of your life haven't even been written yet. The same God who watched you fall is the one who will lift you higher. And when you rise, you'll know it was all part of the plan. Your comeback will silence every doubt, heal every wound, and reveal the glory that's been inside you all along. Keep rising again and again. You may fall, but don't stay down. You may stumble, but don't settle in the dirt. You may have been knocked off your feet by life, but as long as there's breath in your body, you have the power to get back up. There's something holy about resilience. There's something sacred about refusing to stay where life left you. The measure of a person is not in how high they rise, but in how many times they refuse to stay down. Life will test you. It will hit you hard and without warning. One moment you're laughing, the next moment you're on your knees, gasping for air, trying to make sense of the chaos. And when you're lying there, bruised and broken, everything in you will want to quit. Everything in you will say, why try again? What's the point? But that's the moment where greatness is forged. That's the moment where champions are born. not in the applause, but in the agony, not in the celebration, but in the silence, when no one sees you, but you choose to rise anyway. You've got to make up your mind, I will rise again. I may fall 7 times, but I will rise 8. Because the enemy doesn't win when you fall. He wins when you stop trying. He wins when you believe the lie that your failure is final. He wins when you stay stuck in shame and fear and regret. But every time you rise, every single time you shake the gates of hell, you remind the world and yourself that you're not finished. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent. It's not about never falling. It's about refusing to give up. If you look at anyone who's ever done anything worth remembering, you'll see a trail of failures behind them. You'll see doors slammed in their faces. You'll see nights of crying, days of doubting, moments where they almost walked away. But they didn't. They kept rising. They kept pushing. They kept believing. And because they didn't quit, they made it. You have that same spirit in you. You have that same power. You're not weak. You're not worthless. You're not finished. You are chosen. You are equipped. You are destined to rise, even if nobody claps, even if nobody sees, even if the people you helped walk away, even if the pain is heavy and the progress is slow. Rise anyway. Rise because your purpose depends on it. Rise because your healing is waiting on the other side of your obedience. Rise because someone else is watching and needs to know that it's possible to fall and still move forward. Don't wait to feel ready. Don't wait to feel strong. Stand up with shaky legs. Rise with tears still in your eyes. Move with questions still in your heart. Because every time you rise, heaven rejoices. Every time you rise, your future shifts. Every time you rise, you remind yourself and the world that you are not a quitter, you are a warrior. And warriors rise again and again. Faith and action go hand in hand when it's time to rise. You can't just hope your way out. You can't just wish your way forward. There comes a moment when you have to move. There comes a moment when you have to do something. You've cried, you've prayed, you've fasted, and that was good, but now it's time to put feet to your faith. It's time to stand up, step out, and walk like you believe the promise God spoke over your life. Faith without action is a dream without legs. It's a fire without flame. It's not enough to believe in the miracle. You have to prepare for it. You have to build the ark before the rain. You have to gather the jars before the oil flows. You have to stretch out your hand before the healing comes. There is something God has already placed in you that's waiting for you to activate it. Sometimes we're waiting on God, but God is waiting on us. Waiting on us to take that step, to apply, to forgive, to speak, to move, to act like we know who we are and whose we are. You were not called to sit in fear and doubt. You were called to walk by faith and not by sight. And yes, you may not see the whole picture. Yes, the road ahead may look uncertain. But if you take one step, just one step, God will meet you there. He will open doors no man can shut. He will bring favor you didn't earn, but He won't do what you refuse to do. You've got to move. It's not always going to feel good. Sometimes walking in faith will feel like walking blind. Sometimes you'll have to move before the money comes, before the clarity comes, before the people show up to support you. But obedience doesn't require full understanding. Obedience just requires trust. And when you trust, and when you move, and when you act, that's when God moves too. That's when breakthroughs happen. That's when chains break. That's when doors open. You've got to fight the urge to stay still. You've got to war against that voice that says, wait a little longer, or you're not ready yet. You've got to silence the fear that says, what if it doesn't work? With a stronger voice that says, what if it does? Because it's not your job to make it all work. It's your job to believe and move like it already will. Faith is not passive. Faith is powerful. It pulls the future into the present. It calls those things that are not as though they were. So don't just pray about rising rise. Don't just believe you can overcome. Act like it. Take the step. Make the call, write the plan, show up. Faith is not just in the heart. It's in the hands, the feet, the mouth. It's what you do when you don't yet see. And if you'll mix your faith with action, there is no fall so deep that you won't rise higher than before.